I'm so upset. Teachers blundering.
Only been on pole twice for this circuit. Can he make it 3? Michael Schumacher. Yes, he does. The crowd love it.
Raikkonen in the final corner, James. This is going to be so tight.
There's nothing much in it then as he goes for the line. Raikkonen, can he do it? Yes, he can. What a brilliant finish. Oh, boy, that was something special.
The young lion Raikkonen puts one over the superstar Michael Schumacher, the Finn on pole for the first time in Schumacher country as well. The imposing Nürburgring, all set for round 9 of F1 2003. It's the European Grand Prix. Hello there, good afternoon to you all. Well, we're enjoying the same sort of weather as many of you back home. It's slightly cloudy. The forecast, though, is for a dry race, temperature hovering around 23 degrees. Tony Jardine and Mark Blundell are with me. Now, Mark, if it stays dry, it's going to suit the Michelin runners and suit the 2 Williams.
Definitely so, and I think the 2 Williams guys are running on quite an amount of fuel. Very sensible in qualifying. We now know that there's another 5 years to go with that programme there, so good combination. But Ralf Schumacher, I think, done an exceptional job. He's been running very well in the past Grand Prix in his qualifying format. Here you see him there, just putting this nice lap together, very tidy through the chicane. Nice driving at the moment. He's very relaxed in the car at the moment, Ralf. He's been doing a sensational job. Just comes through the last corner there, gradually gets in the throttle, squeezes it off there, and a very good job indeed. But I also think that Montoya is also getting to the point where he's getting to grips with the car in qualifying. But you watch Monty, he's just a little bit more aggressive in the car, just takes it into this turn here, blocks the right front wheel, that loses him just a snatch of time, and he's got to try and make up for it. Monty, I think, is going to be a full speed record with the race. He seems to run a little bit more fuel than what Ralf does, and I think those two are going to be strong.
It's only a 6-figure crowd in here, all of them carrying red, or the vast majority, all of them supporting Michael Schumacher. He's got a great record here, but he does tend to make the odd mistake.
He does, and he made a mistake going into the Dunlop curve, which he reckons cost him the pole position because he was fractions of seconds away from it. But the big issue again is the tyres, and he reckoned that Michelin had to change from the super soft on the Friday to a slightly harder tyre for the Saturday. But at the same time, it is such a great car. Mark and I were saying earlier, thank goodness he is on Bridgestones and he's not on Michelin tyres. He probably would have run away and hidden, but again, he recovered somewhat from the mistake down at Dunlop there to put in this great time and get provisional pole, and Kimi was still to go. and he wasn't to know that he was to lose it. But he was pretty pleased with that lap and a great recovery from the world champion.
It was a great scenario, wasn't it, qualifying too, because there with Michael, that seemed to be good enough for pole. Kimi Raikkonen, who'd made a huge mistake last time out in Canada, and he just sat there concentrating his car, didn't know any other times.
That's a very important point, because everyone was saying, well, how could he do it with all this pressure? But he wasn't watching the times at all. He didn't take any information. He said, I sat there confident, knowing that we could do it. And he went out and strung this lap together. And just to remind everybody, in case they don't need reminding, that is last year's car, last year's McLaren. And Kimi getting the first pole. And also that his compatriot, the great Finn Hakkinen, got his first pole here in '97.
It's worth having a little look at Toyota, who've spent quite a lot of money this season, but have struggled so far. But they put both the drivers in the top 10, Mark, D'Amato and Olivier Panis, the elder statesman of the Grand Prix field.
Well, Olivier's been a little bit frustrated with the Toyota programme since the beginning of the year. He also thought he was going to be getting stronger earlier in the season. It just seems to be coming right now. They put in a good performance. Of course, what we don't know is how much fuel they're running. And we've seen in the past that Toyota run not a lot of fuel and been pitching early during the race. But it seems that this weekend so far has been going very, very well for them.
And great support for that Toyota team, their factory just a few miles down the road in Cologne. There we are then, Tony. First pole of Raikkonen's career. For McLaren, their first pole of the season. Just chat us through.
Well, Kimi Raikkonen, a dream come true for him and in Mercedes Landsby, just 32 thousandths of a second ahead of Schumacher, who says he's on the dirty side of the grid. His brother in third is on the clean side. Will he risk a tango with his brother down at turn one? Montoya making an all BMW second row. And then he said, I was taking a little bit of easy because I had a heavy fuel load on. Barrichello in fifth. Truly lots of changes to the Renault, made a step forward, he said. Panis looking for more points in front of all the Toyota employees, and Alonso in eighth position. Then we have Coulthard, made a mistake going into turn one, lost some time. D'Amato making it two Toyotas in the top 10. Then Webber sacrificed the grid slot to concentrate on the race setup. And then Button, who is 12th, he is the first or second of the Bridgestone runners behind Ferrari. Fisichella there in 13th. Best ever grid position for Furman in 14th, and the other Jordan. Frentzen in the Sauber had to take the spare, and alongside him, Pizzoni a little bit disappointed with 16th place. And we have Villeneuve, bad day for him, bad qualifying position, twice winner here. Verstappen, nearly the home Grand Prix for him. Then we have Wilson in 19th position. 20th position, no time for Heidfeld because he spun off with a gearbox problem in turn one. He wasn't happy, but Kimi was.
It was very good. The car actually, it was the same situation than yesterday, that we didn't have the perfect setup before qualifying, and then suddenly for qualifying we did little setup change, and it was pretty much perfect, and we got good lap out of it.
It's a reasonable result if you see the problem I've had in that lap, and I guess even considering the strategy we have.
It was a good lap, yeah. A couple of mistakes in there, but it's the usual story. I think all of us have to will complain about the individual lap. I think being third, given the circumstance that we are so close together, is a good result.
Do you think everybody's on a similar strategy for the race?
I guess that the top teams know how to define a strategy, so we have been very close in Montreal, Ferrari and ourselves, and I think it will be the same here.
You've got quite a lot of options from where you are on the grid, haven't you?
Yeah, it's pretty good, you know, it's not ideal, but, you know, it would be better to be further in front, but, you know, it's a very close-up grid and everything, so it should be pretty interesting.
So now let's focus on Kimi Raikkonen, shall we? He's hit back superbly after losing his lead in the Drivers' Championship, and the Finn leading that pack of hungry young drivers like Alonso, Webber and Montoya, whose aim is to shake up the F1 establishment. Here's Ted Kravitz.
Kimi Raikkonen's first Formula One pole came right off the back of one of his poorest qualifying efforts. In Canada 2 weeks ago, Kimi tried to take the first corner a full 15 kilometres an hour faster than he'd ever done before. He paid a high price for his youthful exuberance, the loss of his championship lead and a talking to from the boss.
We've spoken a little and I mean all I can say is really the results speak for themselves. He did a great job and it's to his credit.
What kind of advice have you been able to give him?
Well, I'd rather not say. I think everything in moderation, I think, is the right bit of advice, and sometimes tries to do it all at the first corner. I don't think he was too greedy on the first corner today, and then you get into a rhythm, and he really pulled it out in the last sector.
I have had a couple quite bad qualifying, and then we have talked how we can improve it. But in the end, sometimes when you're pushing on a limit, you go over and you can lose it. But then once you get it right, you can make a good result.
As we enter the second half of the season, the championship is as tight as it was in Melbourne. Michael Schumacher and Raikkonen separated by 3 points in the rankings, 0.03 of a second on the front row of today's grid. Michael knows Kimi can win.
No, I think he's very good, and I have said so many times. I don't think I have ever not respected him, actually. So I don't think why we have to discuss that.
David Coulthard's the third most experienced driver in the field, but 150 races can't teach you how to master the new one-lap qualifying. 1.2 seconds off his teammates' pole position time, DC's admitted he has to work on how to get the best out of his Saturdays.
I think that when your goal is to be quickest, you're never going to be happy to be further down, and you know, it's as simple as that, really.
I mean, the reality is he just I think pushes too hard and is a little bit tough on himself, and then makes the odd mistake. But as he says, the race is another thing, and he's a great racer. He can win from there.
The Nürburgring is Mercedes' home event. No better place for their first pole of 2003. Have the mechanics fixed your pit wall yet?
Yeah, it's very stable, no worries. I was really excited. That happens not very often. I don't remember when it was last, but this was a special lap, and you know, Kimi was 2 times in the last 3 races. He was in first row, just roughly 30 thousandths down to pole, and now it was the other way around, and well, that was the whole excitement because he made it, and I think it was a very special lap.
Well, Kimi's pole position clearly demonstrates that the 2002 McLaren is still very competitive. But what about the new car? Now, Martin, I know you've been testing furiously, but the car has been involved in a couple of fairly big accidents. You haven't passed all your mandatory crash tests yet. Is that what's causing the delay bringing it to the races?
A number of things. I mean, as you rightly observe, we've never brought 2 cars back from a test yet, and obviously that doesn't help. We've got a few problems, which are, I think, relatively minor. We've done about 20 crash tests. We've had a couple of problems, and I think we'll sort those. But in the meanwhile, we've got a competitive car, and I think we're not going to introduce a high-risk program all the time. We can compete, we can win races, which I think we can, and we're proving, and we can win a championship. So the more successful you are, the more risk-averse you become with any new program.
Do you think we will see it this year, though? I mean, we're about 5 weeks away from the August testing ban. Are we likely to see the car before that?
Yes, I think we're going to see the car, and we'll decide in this weekend how we get on in France, and we're testing in Barcelona with 2 MP418s. We think the car's got a lot of potential, and as soon as we're confident we've got the potential and the reliability, then we'll introduce it at the races.
Thanks, Martin.
Okay, thanks.
So then McLaren very relaxed about the appearance of their new car, whenever that might be. I just wondered if David Coulthard is equally relaxed, Mark, because Kimi Raikkonen's success is putting David's relative lack of success in sharp focus.
Well, David's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's been the guy in McLaren for the last 6 or so years. Everybody says he's the team leader, so we all look to him to get the job done. But I think for me at the moment, DC is a little bit like a golfer on the tour, and he's just got some struggling with his putting. You know, when you see some of these guys with the EBGBs, but he still go on to win the tournament. And DC's no different today. He is a Grand Prix winner. He's just a little bit apprehensive when he's driving the car at the moment to do this 1 lap. Just can't quite get the job done. But it will come back to him. He's just got to build his confidence back up. I would like to see him even throw it off the road, giving 110% and not quite doing the lap.
Yeah, Ron Dennis saying he's always very hard on himself, but do you think it is a mental thing with this single lap qualifying now?
He's got a little bit of a psychological block at this point. You can just see that he's not quite relaxed in the car, because if you look over the course of the weekend until we get to that 1 lap, he's very, very fast, sometimes much quicker than Kimi. We saw it at Monte Carlo, qualifying he blew it. We've seen it a little bit here as well.
Just one question for you about his contract. I think he's got another year to run. Would you expect McLaren to extend that deal? There have been 1 or 2 rumours about it.
I would expect him to continue with David because he's a solid guy. Where else down the pit lane are they going to go to replace him? I don't see anybody else.
OK, Mark, thank you very much indeed. And Michael Schumacher, of course, the father David Coulthard, and everybody else tries to catch. But today, he's set to become the first driver ever to pass the 1,000 points mark. He's on 999 now. And just take a look at this, and it underlines how far his challenges have to go before they come near to matching his achievements. Michael Schumacher, 34 years of age, he's won here 3 times, 5 World Championships, same as Fangio, 68 wins, a record 11 last season, 54 poles. Senna has still got that record on 65. 68 victories, that is slightly better than 1 every 3 starts. Absolutely astonishing. And Mark, you know, he gets every single bit of advantage, doesn't he? And you spotted something. I just want you to say, what is he doing here after qualifying yesterday?
Well, what I think he's doing, because I think he's a very, very sharp cookie, and that's why he's been 5 times world champion. Just look what he's doing now. He's focusing on Kimi Räikkönen's weight of his car. He's looking over at those scales and he's trying to see what the weight of that car is. It may not give them an advantage today for the race, but it does tell them a number of things and it gives them valuable information. They've now got a handle on what McLaren are up to on the weight of the car, what fuel they're running. Ralph pops in, his head's there. Look, he doesn't really get a clue what's going on. There's a difference there between Michael and Ralph for me.
McLaren aren't going to be very chuffed with that, are they?
No, they're not at all. I mean, that's not the game. He's not really meant to do that. But as Mark says, it's classic Michael Schumacher. They're meant to go right through there and upstairs to the press conference. And there he is standing, I mean, getting his notebook out there and turning down the way
to see a camera at any moment, didn't you? Anyway, he has signed a driver for Ferrari till the end of 2006. An even longer deal's been announced here, and that extends the partnership between BMW and Williams all the way to 2009.
Few teams take more pride in their engineering excellence than Williams, but as part of their new BMW deal, they've had to let their German partner build more bits of the car. BMW will work on the gearbox and how it transmits power onto the road.
There are certain areas where BMW has, let's say, a lot of resources, and that's definitely engines, that's definitely electronics, but that's also drivetrain.
It's a question of having more people, hopefully thereby more brains, more resource, to concentrate on one given area of the car, which is the transmission. And we're happy to share that with them because all we're really interested in is winning races.
This will be one of the longest engine partnerships Williams have ever had, 10 years, more than the periods with Renault and Honda. So does that continuity tempt the drivers to stay beyond their current deals?
At the moment, it's just more stability for us. Long term, you know, I'm not even signed here, so I don't know. You know, I'm sure for the team it's going to be better, and that's what really counts.
That's probably right. Certainly, it's a great team to beat. That's why I came in the first place. Anything else after 2004 is not clear yet.
So while the drivers might be non-committal about the future, they have to acknowledge the recent improvements made to the car. Juan Pablo's win in Monaco and Ralph's recent pole positions have not been lost on BMW.
The past 6 or 7 months were very fruitful. It was a learning period for all of us. In fact, we developed the operations plan for the coming years. And as a result of this, we were able to close a deal.
This is a pivotal Grand Prix for Williams. Ralf Schumacher and Montoya have around 20 points to make up on the front runners, Schumacher and Räikkönen. And we have a Fernando Alonso feature coming right up for you, by the way. Barrichello won here last year. Coulthard needing a big race and Trulli starting 6th in shape to score. And meantime, Ferrari have also hit the front in the Constructors' Championship. Williams, though, on a surge. 29 points in the last 2 races. Renault dropping to 4th, a sizable gap to Jordan, BAR and the rest. We've heard from Kimi Räikkönen. Now let's spend some time with another of the young chargers who've raised the entertainment level this season. Originally from Oviedo on Spain's Atlantic coast, he is now very much based in Britain. Beverly Turner's driven to meet him.
I've come to the heart of rural Oxfordshire. This is where most F1 teams are based, and today we're going to be receiving a guided tour from one very special resident. Hola! Hop in, mate. I'll take you for a spin.
No, thank you. We'll go in my car. It's easier to drive. So, we go back to Spain.
So is it quite a lonely life here, being so far away from home? And
yes, yes. To live alone is always, you know, good in one side, but you miss your family, and you know, to be here now at the moment we are alone because we
we're
cannot
very
move.
alone. Oh God, how are you swimming?
Very bad. So
I cannot believe you're 21. Do you feel 21? Some days you must feel 41.
41, no. But yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit more because from 13 years old I've been driving in Italy, go-karts, alone, living alone probably in Italy. So, you know, I think the maturity that I have is maybe more than my age.
You haven't been living alone since you were 13?
Yeah, nearly. Yeah, in Italy.
Really?
Yes.
Nobody lives alone at 13.
No, well, not alone, but most of the time, yeah, alone. For me, for a Spanish person, Formula One is always a dream because we don't have maybe the possibility to be in Formula One very easy. So, you know, for me it was always a dream to be in Formula One.
I saw a photograph of you recently driving the car down the road in Madrid, I think it was. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
And how many people turned up to see you?
100,000 people.
That's crazy.
It was a big event. And,
Were most of them girls?
No, unfortunately, all men. No brakes, no brakes.
No brakes.
We changed driver.
Oh dear, we need a little pit stop. Okay, Fernando, for this true British experience, we've got to get out of the rain and go and get a cup of tea.
Okay, let's go.
What are your ambitions? Because you were the youngest driver ever to get pole in Malaysia. Do you want to be the youngest driver ever to have won the World Championship?
Yes, why not? But,
is it possible though?
Yeah, why not? I think I have 2 or 3 years to do it. But you know, I want to be world champion if it's possible. I'm working hard for that. I'm in a right team to do that, I think, as well. So you know, I have plenty of time.
So when you had your crash in Brazil, does it remind you of how dangerous Formula One is, or does it make you think that it's actually a lot safer than it's ever been?
Both things, I think. First of all, it reminds you that the speed in Formula One is very high, and you don't really feel until you crash, because in the track you feel slower anyway, because you are fighting with the car, with the competitors, and you don't feel really the speed. And then reminds you that the Formula One probably is the safest car now in the world, because if you try to do a crash like that with another type of car, it's a very bad crash. With a Formula One car at the moment are very, very safe.
Okay, well, we've done enough hanging around for today. I'm sure you've got some important things to do. Let's go and have a look at the reason why you are here in Oxfordshire. Let's go to the Renault factory.
Okay. Here we prepare the cars for the races. It's the chassis factory. We have in France a factory for the engine. And here a lot of people working for us and to have the cars ready for the next race.
Yeah, and all these people working for you, does that feel like pressure? 370 people here.
No, well, you know that Formula One is always pressure, and there are a lot of people working for you, but at the end, you know, try to do your best, and you don't feel that pressure that should be in your mind.
Is he in here as much as he should be, or should he make an appearance more often, do you think?
Good.
He's good?
Yeah, he comes around a lot. So.
Is he better than Jarno?
Much better, much better.
It helps having drivers that are friendly to work with as well. Because some of the drivers we've had have been really hard work.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fernando just gets in the car and drives it. It's brilliant.
Well, I'll leave him hard at work. And you know what? Monaco may have the harbour and Austria may have the fabulous Alps, but Oxfordshire has Fernando Alonso.
And we'll wait for him to develop an Oxfordshire accent, Tony, but he's a single-minded fellow, isn't he? More or less done it on his own since he was 13.
Yeah, and he reminds people, he said, listen, I've been driving for 18 years. I started driving when I was 3, then he went off when he was 13. It was quite a sacrifice to do that. But Flavio Briatore, the managing director of Renault, he's anxious to protect him at the same time, because he said to the Spanish press, he said, you will get a super driver. It'll be the first super driver Spain's ever had in its history, but just go easy on him. Don't put too much pressure on him. There's enough pressure on him already.
Mark Emerson Fittipaldi, the youngest ever F1 world champion, 25, around about 30 years ago. Can he do that?
I think he's got the potential to do it. It just all depends whether he's got the car underneath him. And at this point in time, Renault looked like they could get that car for him, but a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Every time he goes out on that grid, he's probably got $10 million weighing on his shoulders. For a 21-year-old, big.
Another young driver in the mix today is Justin Wilson. It's a downhill and very quick start here. It could suit his style in the Minardi. Justin Wilson is with Ted.
Well, Justin's recent reputation is for an incredible starter. He made it up to 11th place on the second lap in Canada. How do you do it?
I just managed to take advantage of any situation. At Canada, people got held up at the second corner, went round the outside of a few. Next chicane, same. So just pushing hard on that first lap, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. You know, there's a high chance here that it won't work because the first corner is so tight. There could be an accident. The second corner, you definitely don't want to try anything because it's very difficult corner and somebody can quite easily close the door on you and have the end of your race. So you just have to be careful.
Your engineer says that it's because you've got great spatial awareness and because you're willing to have a go. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's probably right. I like the first few laps. I think it's great fun. It's a good challenge. See how far you can actually get.
And briefly, your target for this afternoon's race?
Just push hard the whole way. You know, we may be dropping back from the rest of the field, but it doesn't mean we're not trying. We're giving it 110% like everyone else, and just trying to make the most of it. If there's enough people drop out, we could be there at the end, but we just got to make sure that we get a finish.
Thanks, Justin.
We wish him luck, of course. The start here is so quick down there. I remember last year they went 4 abreast into the first corner. OK, competition, the result for you. Vernon Wheeler from Appleton, Oxfordshire, knew that Michael Schumacher won last year's Canadian Grand Prix, and his prize, a Toyota race suit signed by their drivers, Panis and D'Amata. On the ITV website, we have a live chat with Connie Montoya, Wednesday lunchtime, and Ask the Team features Ted. We always welcome your texts and emails, and get in touch whenever you can. We do our best to respond. Here we are then at the modern Nürburgring. A first career pole for Raikkonen, McLaren's first since Coulthard in Monaco in 2001. Mercedes delighted at their home race as well. Well, before the start of the European Grand Prix, we'll talk tactics with Alan McNish and go grid walking with Martin. Starts. Okay. 12th. Who is Jensen's with Lou, is he? So far. Oh, there is a shutter button. Look. Ooh, not for long enough though. Check the 12th. Yeah, team juniors know. There's a six-figure crowd here or not? No. You're back with the ITV F1 team at Germany's Nürburgring, counting down to the start of the European Grand Prix. Average speed in the race close to 130 miles an hour. Schumi's army here in force. The cars at full throttle for 70% of the lap. Jenson Button starting 12th in the BAR. Poor weekend for him so far. Here he is with Lou.
Jason, you were quite chipper when I spoke to you straight after qualifying yesterday because you'd had a good run, but it was only good enough for 12th. Jacques down in 17th. Is it fair to say it's not been a brilliant weekend for the team so far?
Yeah, it hasn't been great. We seem to have struggled a little bit, the same as in Montreal. But, you know, today's a long race, and I think we've got a pretty good race set up, so we've just got to hope for the best. But I don't know how the tyres are going to compare, really.
So you're just going to have to drive around all of that today?
Yeah, flat out around the outside of the first corner, and hopefully we'll be in the top 3. So.
Tell me about that first corner, because it's traditionally a bit of a dodgy one. You're right in the melee.
Yeah, and I think on the inside it's probably the maddest place to be, but no, it's pretty hardcore because you've got quite a lot of speed down the straight, and then you're into first gear for a very tight right-hander, where the apex, the car's lifted off the ground, the inside, so yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting.
Have a good run.
Cheers.
Always an interesting dash, that first corner, Mark. We saw an umbrella going up there. That's to keep the sun away. Jensen would prefer a bit of rain here, wouldn't he?
But, you know, if it does rain, it's going to be interesting, but there's no signs of it yet.
And of course, if the rain comes, it favours the Ferraris on the Bridgestones as well, Tony.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they still have an advantage in terms of their wet weather tyres, and seemingly, Michelin have the advantage with the dry weather tyres. Ralf Schumacher, we're looking at there, he said, I'm very confident about the tyre situation, about our strategy. And Alonso, he had a bit of a bad balance on his car, but he was much happier and then took that 8th place. So looking for another solid performance from him.
Okay, well, tyre wear always crucial around here. A high-speed dasher to that first hairpin as we check on Giancarlo Fisichella straight out the rally car. One stop or two, we're all wondering. Let's see if Ted can find out. He's with Renault's Alan McNish.
Well, Alan, we were having a look in the studio at those shots of Michael sneaking a look at Kimi Raikkonen's weight. What did you make of that? Do you think he can use that to his advantage?
Well, certainly they know what McLaren are going to look at for the first stop, but after that then it's anyone's guess. However, Michael's a bit sharper than the average driver, and he obviously is going to use anything he can to his advantage.
But will McLaren be able to change anything knowing that Michael knows?
I would say it's unlikely. They could maybe preempt a stop, but why would they do it? I think it's pretty open book now from that point of view, and so they'll just run the first stop. But I think it does depend on where Michael is in the race, though.
2 stops for most people, in fact probably all people this afternoon. Do you think Ferrari have to do something different in order to beat McLaren?
There's a little bit of a question because they haven't done any sort of longer runs on Friday and Saturday, and so we don't really know how the tyres are going to perform, but tyre degradation's a big thing around here, and so it may lead them into doing a very short first stop.
Indeed, that first rainy day on Friday, I mean, they started with the soft tyres. They've gone on to the hard because the temperature just killed the soft.
Well, the other thing is that here now you're putting a lot of load through the rear tyre, and rear blistering has been a problem for them in the past races, whereas with Michelin it seems to like the hotter, harder conditions. So I'd say the favour definitely is with the Michelin runners right now.
And how about your 2 boys, Alonso and Trulli?
I think we'll be better in the race than we have been in qualifying. They struggled a bit on Friday afternoon and Saturday just with balance and grip and things, but seems to be coming towards us a little bit now.
Thanks, Alan.
And a reminder, we're going to be spotlighting the Renault team in our Meet the Team series next weekend at the French Grand Prix. We're going to be going down to the grid now. Now then, Martin, the good news, Ozzy Osbourne isn't here. The bad news, Greg Grzetzky's looking for you.
Is that right? Well, that's good then. We're going to use lots of 4-letter words today, like grid, fuel, and the race, of course. So we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of intrigue here on the grid. Michael Schumacher knows exactly how much fuel is in this McLaren, as you know, because he spied the weight. Therefore, he knows how much fuel is on board. I don't know if Kimi's up for a chat. Are you up for a quick word, Kimi? He's got what? I think he's got a little panic wee-wee. I think that's the second time he's been over there. Norbert, can we have a quick word for British TV? So you were so excited yesterday when Kimi got the pole.
Already got a bollocking from Mr. Dennis because I was so excited, but I couldn't do it otherwise. I was really pleasantly pleased on Kimi's performance, and it is, I think, 2 years ago we had the last pole in Monaco. And so we lost it 2 times this year already in the last 4 races with about 30 thousandths of a second. And this time Kimi made it, and that's what pleases me or what pleases the whole team. I think it was well deserved.
Yeah, don't use those complicated German words. You get me into trouble. I'm in trouble enough already. So what's going to happen today? You must be a bit miffed that Michael could see exactly how much gas your car's got on. He knows your strategy today.
Michael knows?
Yeah, he saw the weigh-in. He looked at the weigh-in yesterday.
Yeah? I would be surprised if he knows our strategy.
Oh, really? So you must be confident you can take this race win today. That's going to be hard, though. Can Michelin's keep the pace up? The Bridgestones look really good, really consistent. We were talking about the tyres earlier on. They're really consistent on their runs. Can you do that?
Bridgestone looked very consistent. That's what I saw yesterday morning as well. But I think Michelin's are going to be okay. A little bit more temperature would help. But basically it should be a close fight. I think it all depends on the start first and on the first corner. We have 5 cars within 2.5 tenths of a second, which is very, very close. So it's going to be an interesting race, I hope.
Can you get David through from 9th? Can you help him?
Absolutely. I think if he does a good race and if he has the right speed, he's probably in a position still to finish on the podium. He's a good racer and we support him. You know, he did not get the best qualifying lap, but we are a team and stand together and give him a push and support him. He's a great guy and we're going to help him.
Thanks, Norbert. Good luck. Let's have a wander down. Something I saw over here I've never seen before is twins standing holding the board here for Michael Schumacher. Hello, ladies. So I don't know your names, but why you're the first twins ever to do this job? How did you get this job?
We won the Grid Girl contest of the German TV station Premiere.
Okay, and you knew you were going to be on Michael Schumacher's car wherever he was on the grid, or?
No.
You didn't know, you just happened to be put here, yeah. So you Formula One fans?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
And who do you want to win today? Which of the German drivers?
Schumacher.
Which one?
Michael.
Okay, good luck. Nice to see you. Let's have a wander down and see if we can have a poke around and find out something else that's going on here today. So it's all about, can the Bridgestones keep it together? Will Michelin grain? Whatever. Here's a little man that might know. Pierre Dupasquier Michelin. Good, and you. Good to see you again.
Very well, thank you.
Obviously, tyres are going to play a critical role today, and you know, where are you at? I mean, the Bridgestones look good on consistency. Are you going to get some drop off? Can you beat them?
No, we don't expect any drop off, and tyre always play a major role if they screwed up. If they do a good job, that's normal.
It's all about engine and chassis if it does a good job, and a bad job if it's tyres.
No, not exactly. No, we are very ambitious. We know we are fighting the hell, and obviously if we go towards a harder compound, more stable, you are more comfortable. We are not comfortable at all, but that's Formula One.
Did you see any blisters on the Ferrari tyres?
Yes.
You expecting some more today?
Hopefully.
Okay, that's good. Did I see, talking of four-letter words, did I see Bernie wander past? And Bernie, I've got 30 seconds. We want to know who you think's going to win today. We're here.
Williams.
Why?
Because they'd be quicker.
Yeah, when I asked you in Monaco, you were absolutely spot on with your strategy. So you think Williams are the dark horse then?
I think they're going to win.
Why? Because the tyres, the fuel, you just think they've got the best package?
The best package, you're right.
Why not Michael then? He seems pretty handy.
Don't let him hear what I'm saying.
All right then. I think thanks for that. I think it's time to go back to the studio so we can get on with this motor race.
Good, well done down there, Martin. So Williams to win for Bernie, and he's normally pretty good on the predictions. Kimi Raikkonen, 23 years of age, the pole sitter, leading them around for the very first time, and Raikkonen's only had 42 races compared to Michael Schumacher's 186. Montoya, very, very keen to do well. Watch him go at the start. The Iceman, Kimi Raikkonen, he'll be feeling the heater from Michael Schumacher's army of fans. The men in form, though, behind those two. Ralf Schumacher on the eve of his 28th birthday. Last year's winner, Rubens Barrichello, in the mix as well. Don't discount those Toyotas, both of them in the top 10. Panis and D'Amata, Renaults of Trulli, Alonso and Coulthard all in the mix as well. We're gearing up, beautiful conditions, you can see them go. Who will be the Eurostar at the Nürburgring?
Hello. Yep.
All right, James. All right, Martin. Well, Martin's probably not
Just
there yet.
James at the moment.
Yeah,
Jim. Yep.
have a good show, mate.
Thank
won't
you very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Temperature, please, Chapo. 20. That's all right. It's 60.